As the partisan war between Democrats and Republicans continues, our country inches that much closer to a possible default as the two parties continue to disagree on how to raise the debt limit. This afternoon, a meeting between the two sides could either jumpstart negotiations or create more uncertainty. Joining me now live from Washington is political correspondent Joe St. George with more on what to expect. Joe, as always, great to have you here. Now, several eyes will be on this meeting today, set for 4 p.m. Eastern, but who exactly is going to be taking part in it and what can we expect?
Yeah, for the moment, Matt, I don't know if you played it or maybe your daughter plays it, the game of game of chicken, in which one person runs one direction, the other runs the other. Both sides try to get the other to blink, to move first. That's essentially what's going on with this debt limit right now. It's a high-stakes game of political chicken. Democrats don't want to be the first one to blink. Republicans don't want to be the first one to blink. We'll see if any blinking happens following today's meeting at the White House, slated to happen 4 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock Mountain time. Interesting timing, because there's a good chance we won't know what happens in this meeting until after the markets close. On screen, all congressional leaders will be there, Democrats, Republicans, but my sources tell me the two most important people in the room will be President Biden and Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy. If a deal is going to be brokered, it's going to happen between those two individuals on this topic, at least for now. As a reminder to our viewers waking up with us in Idaho, Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen has said the country will default in early June. That's rapidly approaching. It's possible June 1st could be the day. We'll have more clarity on the actual default day as we get a bit closer. Republicans, their position has been pretty clear for months. They don't think it's entirely unreasonable to ask for some spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt limit. Democrats, though, have said that the cuts that were proposed in the House bill that passed 2 weeks ago, Democrats have said that is untenable. They're not going to vote for that. Democrats want a clean debt limit increase. They don't believe the American economy should be held hostage. They believe a budget negotiation should happen after a clean debt increase. So that's where we stand right now, Matt. We'll see if anything changes following today's meeting.
Gotcha. Yeah, and my daughter and I, she's 2 years old. We do play games similar to chicken. We're hoping that the meeting that we see today is a little more mature than my daughter and I. But with all that being said, a new Gallup poll shows that Americans, they have little confidence.
Yeah, I'm not
right
so
now.
Sure.
Now we're hearing that the Gallup poll, it shows that Americans, they have little confidence in our economic leaders. Now, seeing as these same leaders are the ones who are going to be meeting today with the country's financial future in their hands, why would you say this poll is significant?
Well, let's pop it up on screen real quickly. Again, it's worth noting that confidence is an important thing to be talking about as we get closer to this default date. American people, not a whole lot of confidence in President Biden, Republicans in Congress, Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen. This is a fresh poll out from Gallup this morning. All of them under 40%. Not a whole lot of confidence there. But to some degree, it's going to be the investors on Wall Street and what they think their level of confidence is going to be that I think is going to be the key thing to watch the rest of May here. If investors begin to get uneasy, if they believe that a default is more and more likely, you're going to see the markets be rattled before this default happens, impacting 401ks, impacting retirement accounts. And it's important to remember with this debate, Matt, about why this all matters, right? If a default happens, we've never had one before, it's uncharted territory, the Treasury Department would be forced to make some significant decisions about Social Security checks and SNAP benefits. Do they go out on time? Are they delayed? Not to mention, many economists have said a mini recession could take place with possible layoffs. So a lot to watch for. I suspect, Matt, you and I will be talking about this next week.
Yes, I assume we will. A lot of uncertainty today, and of course we'll be sure to keep our eyes out as the country hopes to avoid that possible default. Joining us this morning with the latest information on what to expect has been political correspondent Joe St. George. As always, thanks so much, Joe, for the wonderful information.